entrepreneur, jet pilot, peak performance coach, and best-selling author brings you Living Outside the Cube, where great thinkers and doers of our century talk about how to help you be your best. Here is your host, Fabrizio Poli.
We're done. Okay, done.
Okay, so hi everybody, and back to another great episode of Living Outside the Cube. Today from Las Vegas, we have Allyn Root with us back again because he has finally written that book he talked to us about last time when we had the interview. The Power of Relentless is out. It's hit the bookstores. It's hit Amazon.com. It's climbing the charts. It's actually an incredible book. I've just finished reading it. Wayne, thank you for coming back to the show, and great book.
Thank you, Fabrizio. And it did hit the bestseller list in week one. Actually, the open, right out of the doors, it was ranked number 5 of all conservative books in America, which is ironic because it's not a conservative book. It's written by a conservative author, me, who's known as a conservative political author. Somehow they categorized it under conservative, and the Conservative Book Club ranked the top 10 books in America based on sales, and mine was number 6 in the United States of America with some huge names. Mark Levin, Bill O'Reilly, I don't know if you know all these names. Bill O'Reilly, Ted Cruz running for President of the United States, Ben Carson running for President of the United States, Ann Coulter was on the list just below me. So I'm very proud of the fact that it opened up as a bestseller. And at Amazon, where they've categorized it correctly, it was at several times in the last 2 weeks the number 1 business leadership book in the world. So a good start to things, and very proud to be with you and to prove to you that when I tell you about something, I do it because I'm relentless.
That is the thing that I really liked about your book. And I saw just before we start this interview that you've got 36 reviews on Amazon and you got 5 stars. That's 36 people that have given you 5 stars, which is great. But let's go into the book here and tell us why you decided to write The Power of Relentless.
Well, and just to show you I am relentless and I'm never satisfied, I'm actually annoyed that I have 36 reviews. I'm glad they're all 5 stars, but there should be 36,000 reviews, not 36.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So that number to multiply and multiply. I'm never satisfied. And that's, I think, one of the keys to success is that, I'm a perfectionist. I'm relentlessly or aiming for relentless perfection, and most people don't. So as an example, my 15-year-old son has been running my video and audio components of my company since he was 9 years old. And I know you know about that too, because your kids are intricately involved. You're a big family man like me. Everyone's kind of homeschooled and around all the time. And I loved meeting your kids and you and your wife, your family, and my family is very similar.
Yeah.
And my son is always saying to me, Dad, we just did 3 takes and every one of them sounded exactly the same to me. Why are you telling us to do a 4th take and then a 5th take and then a 6th take? Because I'm into relentless perfection. Even if you don't know it's not perfect, as the client who hired me to do a video or the TV network, I know. I want every word to be the perfect moment, the perfect word, the perfect expression on my face, the perfect inflection in my voice. I think most people who are successful, Fabrizio, are like that. They are aiming for relentless perfection. So that's just one of many ideas you'll find in my book. If you settle for that one was okay, that take was okay, you're never going to be rich and famous and super successful. You got to aim to be the best at whatever you do. It doesn't matter what it is. And if you fall short, it's like if you aim for the stars and you fall short, you're still going to land on the moon. And that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But if you aim for the curb and you miss, you're going to land in the middle of Newark, New Jersey. If you know that, I don't know if you know all the way in England about Newark, New Jersey. Very dangerous urban neighborhood where you get killed walking alone at night. So you always want to aim high, and then if you fail, you still wind up in a pretty good place. I aimed to be president of the United States, and I guess you could say I failed, but I won my party's vice presidential nomination. And then when that didn't work out, we didn't win, I became a national political commentator and now a national best-selling author 3 times over. So even if you aim for the best and it's president and you don't become president, that's a hell of a way to fail. You wind up as a national TV and radio commentator talking about politics and business. So I think my whole book is about expectations. You got to aim high to land anywhere decent in life. And so yesterday or 2 days ago, I was on TV here in the States with Sarah Palin. Do you know that name?
Yeah, Sarah Palin. She ran for vice president for the Republican Party.
She did. Very good. You get an A+, Fabrizio. She ran with John McCain in 2008 for VP. I ran with Bob Barr for VP of my party, Libertarian, in 2008. I actually ran against her. She personally requested me to be on her TV show the other day. And so I came on. We had a wonderful, usually you're on for 3 minutes. We were on for 15 minutes together. And, she introduced me as she was honored to be on with me, a fellow vice presidential candidate. I was honored to be on with her. So that was a great honor. But, again, things like that don't happen unless you're aiming high in life. And I love to aim at Sarah Palin. She's famous. Her name is at the top of every list for media stars and political stars. And now I was hanging out with her direct from my home office, same way I'm doing it with you, sitting on Skype on her national TV show. So you gotta aim high, or as my friend Donald Trump would say, he was on the back of my book. He endorsed my book. I'm very proud of that. Donald Trump would say you gotta have relentless chutzpah. And my book is about relentless chutzpah. For those who don't know what that word means, it's an old Yiddish saying, and what it kind of means is audacity, or balls, or cojones, whichever word you prefer. The nice word would be chutzpah. It's a little cleaner way of saying it. But, you got to have audacity. You got to actually dare to dream you're the best in the world at whatever you do.
Yeah, so this is really why you wrote the book then. Do you think that most people out there, they don't aim high enough, and that's why they just go through life, they sail through life, living a life of mediocrity, they aim low, they achieve low, and probably they don't really tap into their potential?
And you've got to have faith, and I think they might put their faith in the wrong place. Let me explain. Let me be careful how I explain this. I'm a big God guy, as you saw in my book. Yeah. I believe in faith in God. I believe in daily prayer. I believe in a morning walk with God where I literally take a walk in the park and I do my praying. I believe in affirmation and visualization. I do biblical reading. I read Bible verses in the morning. So I happen to be a spiritual guy and a religious guy and I'm a Jew turned evangelical Christian, a good Christian. So in all those things, I'm setting the foundation here so I don't offend anybody. I happen to be religious, spiritual, and Christian. Now let's get to the negative part of religion. People go to church and they believe in God and they think God will change their circumstances, and it's amazing. He never does. Never does. I mean, I never see anybody who by going to church and praying, life turns around and changes. Life turns around when God helps those who help themselves. Exactly. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to do something for yourself. So if you're standing in the middle of the highway, Fabrizio, and a truck's coming at you and you're praying to God, you're going to die. God doesn't lift you up magically and get you out of the way of the truck, but God might inspire you when that idea comes into your mind. Oh my God, a truck's coming. Run. That's God inspiring you. God is in your life, but you got to take your legs, put one foot in the other, and move. It's always about motion and action. And I think too often people go to church or synagogue or wherever they go, and they think God will take care of everything. Well, God's there. God's the one sending you the rowboat. Get in it, you idiot. And so, I'm someone who believes it's a combination of God and faith in God and faith and confidence in you and your talents, and then action and motion. You read my book, Fabrizio. I think the whole book is about action and motion. And all of action and motion are what empower faith. It's that combination.
Yeah, what I really liked about your book was the fact that you talked about your personal experiences, and you also talked about other successful people and how they went about life and how they were relentless. And one of the things you talk about, and you put a lot of emphasis on your early morning ritual. When you get up in the morning for the first 2 or 3 hours before you actually start work, what you do. Could you tell us a bit about that? Because I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting twist on things. I call it triad. And remember, I'm a branding guy. Everyone in life, that was my book, was about that too. It's about a lot of things. Yeah. There's no one key to success. There isn't. Relentless is important. That's why it's called the Power of Relentless. But there's 100 ideas in this book. All of them are important. All of them are synergistic. And so I know branding is important. So I give things names that are easy to remember, simple, 1 or 2 words. I call my program, my 12-step program, Positive Addictions. I call my morning program Triad. And Triad is easy to remember. It's 3 things. You divide your morning into motion, mental motion, physical motion, and financial motion. And so each morning I'm ahead of my competition. I'm ahead of anyone who's trying to beat me or compete with me, because by 9 a.m. I've usually done more for my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul, and my financial future than they haven't even started yet. They're first on their cup of coffee and they haven't sat down at the desk yet. I'm a get up early kind of guy. because studies prove, and I cite them in this book, the early bird captures the worm. The early bird has a head start at everyone, but I don't get up early just to do nothing. I have a very scheduled day. So I try and do 3 hours in the morning before I start work of what I call triad. The average person might divide it into 30, 30, and 30, so an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or 20, 20, 20, so it's 40 minutes. Whatever you have time for is great. Do what you can. But I personally do an hour of mental conditioning and motion in the morning, meaning meditation, prayer, affirmation, visualization, goal planning, all mental stuff. Yoga, I think, is not physical. It's really mental. Yeah. It activates positivity and gets all the negativity out of your life. And then I do physical exercise in the morning. I take a morning walk with God. I work out on the treadmill or the elliptical or the rower or the bike to get your body moving. Everything's about movement. And then I do physical motion. That's the third part of triad. I spend an hour, maybe I should say I dedicate an hour each morning to to financial motion and financial improvement. And what I mean by that is, whatever you do to make money, 9 to 5, during those 8 hours a day, 9 to 5, whatever you do to make money is not what I want you to do in that hour in the morning. I want you to use that hour for one thing only: to improve your money, to build a second career or a third career or a fourth career, to expand your multiple revenue streams, to make sure that more money is coming in. That's what I do. That's why I get checks as a speaker. I get checks as an author. I get checks as a spokesman. I get checks as a TV producer. I get checks as a TV host. I get checks as a TV guest. I get checks as a professional Vegas odds maker. I get checks from each of my businesses as well. I get checks as a spokesman for law firms, and as a spokesman for a gold firm, and as a spokesman for a fantasy football firm. And how did that happen? It's not by mistake, folks. There is no luck or coincidence in life. Luck is the residue of design. And I designed my life with that hour each morning. So whatever I'm doing 9 to 5 today, say I'm writing a book today called The Power of Relentless. Guess what I'm doing in that hour in the morning before I start work at 9? I'm designing a new book, or I'm calling a new publisher to pitch them on a new book, or I'm calling a new publicist that can help me with my new book. I'm doing new stuff to make me more successful in that hour. It cannot be the things you normally do. Say I'm a salesman 9 to 5 of carpets. I sell Oriental rugs. Well, in that hour in the morning, part of my triad, I wouldn't be working on morning rugs. That's what I do 9 to 5. I'd be working on developing my second career as an actor. See what I mean? Whatever you do in life, find a second thing and a third thing, a backup to a backup to a backup, or as I say in my book, relentless juggling. You got to always have 25 to 50 balls in the air at the same time if you want to be safe in life. Don't depend on one career, one revenue stream, one job. Can't do it. So if you do this, am I promising you you'll have 20 checks coming in? No. Am I promising you you'll have 20 careers like me? No. I'm promising you that when you put your mind to this and you visualize it and you start to take action, you'll have at least one other career, maybe 2, maybe 3. You may not have my 25, or you may surpass me. I've got 25 and you'll have 50. But you'll be on the path to improving your life and increasing your income and dramatically expanding your opportunities. That's the power of Relentless, and that's how I start my day.
Great. Now, in your book, you do a whole chapter on branding, and you're very good at branding yourself and putting your name out there. Now, anybody that's listening here that's either started a business or thinking of putting themselves on the speaker circuit or doing something, branding is obviously going to be very, very important. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's starting out or wanting to improve on their brand? Bearing in mind that today with the internet, social media and that, it's probably a lot easier than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Well, I would say it involves a combination of relentless branding and relentless personality and relentless chutzpah and relentless media headlines and relentless celebrity. All of those go hand in hand. First of all, you have to have media to brand yourself. I try and tell people that you can either raise $1 million for your new business, which is a very hard thing to do, or you can go out and get a bunch of free media that gives you $1 million worth of free publicity. And I've been a media guy my whole life. All my best-selling books are because of the media. All of my highly ranked rated TV shows are because of lots of media and lots of PR. All of my columns are read in the United States, my political columns, by millions of people because I'm always in the media. I'm just a media whore. And I believe without media, you've got nothing. And every small businessman and woman could learn from me because I am a one-man operation. Fabrizio knows. He visited me at my home, and I have no employees other than my 15-year-old son. You know, I employ my family to help me out because if they want to live in the style to which we've all become accustomed, they better work with dad and work for dad and help dad. But that's it. I have no employees of any kind. I used to have 150 employees, by the way, and I closed that business down, and everybody is gone, and it's just me, and it's lean and it's mean, and it's me and the media and an occasional investor in some of my ventures. But in general, I try and get media in order to pay $1 million worth of free publicity instead of asking people to give me $1 million. Much easier. So, you know, if you want to be successful and brand yourself, it's called celebrity branding. The world, not America, the world loves celebrity. And when they see you in the newspaper, you become a celebrity. When they see your product in the newspaper, it becomes a celebrity. When they see your business mentioned in the newspaper or on TV, it becomes a celebrity. And if they see your product like a cap or a drink or a kind of food, there's no better way to build your food company or your beverage company than to give out free samples to celebrities, and they see them in the media drinking your drink, eating your food, or wearing your cap. Instant millionaire. Not them, you. Celebrities will brand you. And so media makes you a celebrity. So that's why it's all tied together. You need to become a celebrity. You need your business to become famous. You need your product to become famous. And you need to go out and find celebrities, give them a free piece of your business or give them free products. And then they associate their celebrity brand with you. And that makes you and your product a celebrity. Now in America right now, Fabrizio, all anybody talks about is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Trump, 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 Trump. And I would have told you before he ran for office, he's the greatest celebrity brander in the world. And his name is on every important item you could ever buy in the United States of America and around the world. Donald Trump is famous everywhere. Now he's running for president, and he's leading in all the polls to win the Republican nomination when no one thought he had a chance. They didn't think he could get 1% of the vote, and he's leading. And he's leading by a large margin because he understands celebrity branding and celebrity marketing. So it works in anything, business, politics, life, relationships, you name it. Everybody wants to befriend you or touch you. You know, if you're a celebrity, they want to plug into your light socket and they want some of what you're selling and some of your electricity. So that's why it's electricity, it's energy, it's personality, it's branding, and it's celebrity branding, and it's media. It's all of them rolled into one.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you don't need to necessarily be on BBC or Fox News to start. You can start with social media. I mean, that's what we've been doing with our aircraft sales business. We've been doing a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and I've been writing a lot of articles. And as a result of that, this year I've been in the Daily Telegraph a number of times, Financial Times. Even the Financial Times in Mexico rang me up and did an interview with me. So you're right. It's easy. It's not too difficult. You can sit there from your computer and start blasting stuff out there. The important thing, I think, is you have to know what you're doing. And as you said before earlier on, you have to be good at what you do.
And you have to know what the media is looking for. In other words, yes. What makes it hard is that lots of people are trying for that one holy grail, that article in the media or that story in the media on TV. But what makes it easy is that the media is trying to fill that hole. They need to put something on the 6 o'clock news. They need to fill 100 pages of newspaper tomorrow. So they're looking all the time for interesting news stories. So if you've got one, you can literally expand your brand. Let me give you an example. Now, I assume I'm talking to you in England. Are you in your home in England?
Yep,
yeah?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So there's a gal in England by the name of, I hope I get this name pronounced right, Michelle Monet. Do you know Michelle Monet?
Michelle Monet, okay.
She's the #1 seller of women's bras and lingerie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And she just, I believe she got knighted by the Queen. She hangs out with the Queen and Prince Charles and people like that. She's one of the more famous business people, celebrity icons in England, and I'm pretty sure she got knighted by the Queen. And Michelle tells the story. I speak at events where she speaks from the same stage, and I sat and listened to her one day, and she tells the story how she had a bra company and nobody was buying the bras, and she was broke, and she lived in a small apartment, and she got the idea for the first time. Her bra was accepted at, I believe it was Harrods, the big department store in England.
Yep.
And of course, she was relentless. I say everyone has to be relentless to be successful. She relentlessly pursued Harrods, and finally they agreed to put her bras there. But they were up against 50 other bras. No one would have bought them. No one would have ever heard of her. She got the idea of hiring actors to protest outside Harrods because her bras, I think, were sexist and they were demeaning to women. She hired the actors to say that her bras were demeaning to women and that it's only sex she was selling. And then she called the media and said there's a protest going on in front of Harrods, and they came and covered it and made national news. Her bras skyrocketed overnight to the #1 bra and the #1 lingerie in all of England, and now she's a multi-millionaire. And I believe I just read in the UK Daily News, is it, that I believe she's being honored by the president of your country in the next few days. So, yeah. So she's been in the news again and again, and it all started because she understood you have to be a celebrity, you have to have celebrity branding, and you have to get the media to cover your story. It's got to be controversial to get the media's attention.
Yeah. Now, talking about controversial, and you did just mention Donald Trump. Now, I know you're a political commentator. That's one of your many streams of income, is commentating on politics in America. Donald Trump is absolutely going out there, and they're covering over here in England as well. He came over to the British Open because it was actually held at one of his golf courses here up in Scotland, actually. And he's just nailing it in an incredible fashion. I mean, how far do you think he's going to go?
Well, he is the power of relentless. I mean, I hate to ever admit someone's more of the relentless idea than me, but Donald is it. I mean, I'm the second prototype. He's one, I'm 1A. I wrote the book, but he really wrote the book. Every day he writes the book. He is relentlessly on offense. I've always said in politics, you can't let the media or your opponents dictate the agenda. You have to dictate the agenda. And he is relentless in being on offense at all times. He will never apologize. He's relentlessly moving forward. And if he said something bad yesterday, he goes, who cares? Screw you. It's refreshing. It's fantastic. He's a relentless bomb thrower. He's always picking fights and creating controversy. And that works. So we have a famous TV anchor woman named Megyn Kelly on Fox News here. Beautiful blonde girl, and just incredibly bright, a lawyer. She's got a law degree, and she's got an incredible wittiness about her. What a mouth. She's someone who could rip you to shreds in a TV interview. And she tried to embarrass Donald Trump on national TV. Well, he didn't care. He told her off on national TV, and then he didn't let it alone. He could have just left it alone. No, he decided to pick on her again and again and again. Now he calls her a bimbo. Now, by the way, I don't even condone that. I personally would never do something like that. But it sure is working, because each time he says something bad about her, she says something bad about him. Her TV network, Fox News, gets in a war with Donald Trump, and it makes all the headlines. Well, I think Donald Trump's doing all this on purpose. It's called relentless celebrity branding. And he knows that, let me give you a great example in boxing. Ali Frazier. Everybody knows those names. Muhammad Ali, Smoking Joe Frazier, right? All over the world. They fought. They didn't hate each other in real life at first. They just started to create this persona that they hated each other. And Ali would taunt Frazier, and Frazier would taunt Ali. Ali was brilliant. He's the one that came up with all this, and it made all of them multi-zillionaires, close to billionaires. At least Ali became close to a billionaire by taunting Joe Frazier. Donald Trump understands that if you create a war with Fox News and Megyn Kelly, you're in the news every day. It's brilliant. It's Ali Frazier. It's brilliant. It's absolutely bloody brilliant, as you'd say in England. That's how you get headlines, and that's how you're going to win the election. So how far can he go? I think he can go all the way to the White House. I think it's happening. Yeah,
well, besides the fact that he's a celebrity, he's actually got some very good ideas. I mean, he's not just talking off the top of his head like that. I mean, the whole thing with the immigration, and I find it a bit sad to see the way people have twisted this whole Mexican thing. He never said all Mexicans are criminals and rapists and whatever.
No,
he said there are certain people that are coming across the border illegally, and it costs a lot of money to become resident in America if you're a foreigner, if you to apply for the process and everything. And it's not right towards those people that are applying in a legal fashion to try and come into America and live and work in America. And then there's these other people coming across the border for free and being able to stay. And so what he's saying is perfectly right. Okay, he goes on about this wall. But I mean, he's right. He said, we've got the same problem in England. I was reading this morning, 330,000 people came into the UK this year. Now, not all of them came in illegally. They came in because of this European Union thing that unfortunately we still have here. And so these people can just land here. And now we've had people here locally where I live. They come into this country. After 6 months, they apply for free housing.
There you go.
And then we've got English friends here that are struggling and they can't get a free house. And then these guys come in from Hungary and they get a free house.
You know, it's funny what you're talking about, what you're ranting about is exactly what I rant about and Donald Trump rants about. So you're right on the money. In America, it's amazing how many senators say things like, oh, we should give free college education to illegal immigrants because either you educate them or they're going to be here on welfare and not educated. And I get that argument. I'd rather people be educated than not, but then make them pay for it. Because my children can't get a free education in my own country. Why should you give it free to someone who came here illegally? I've never heard anything so outrageous in my entire life. So we have all the same beefs going on in America, and none of the politicians are willing to boldly say it. And Donald Trump has what I call the main chapter of my book, relentless chutzpah. You know, so that's, we mentioned earlier, audacity. He's willing to bring up things that other people aren't. He's bold. You got to be bold to be successful in life. And so we have that problem. And I don't think immigrants are bad. I want more immigrants, not less. But I want more legal immigrants. And I want immigrants. Tomorrow, I want to bring in every Fabrizio in the world. Every intelligent person who's a family man, who makes money, who owns his own business. Let's bring in 10 million of you. But let's build a wall so 10 million poor people who are looking for a handout and who want a cradle to grave welfare from the day they get here until the day they die, they can't come into America or you'll ruin the country and drag it down. Once again, what's my book about? Relentless expectations, high expectations. Why shouldn't America be about high expectations? We want the best and the brightest in the world and the most ambitious, but I don't want anybody who thinks they should come here and collect welfare.
Yeah, you're right. Now let's move on to the subject of young people, because it seems to me that a lot of young people today just haven't got that stamina, they haven't got that drive. Why do you think this is happening, and what can we do to give them a kick up the backside? I mean, obviously, you and I have got a bit of an advantage because we homeschool our children, so there's a big advantage when you're homeschooling your children. But when your children are out there in the schooling system, whether it's in the UK, Japan, United States, Canada, it's a different story. So what do you think we can do to address this problem?
Well, you and I know the secret. You know, you just said something so casually that nobody in America even knows. You said so casually that homeschooling gives your kids an advantage.
Yeah.
My daughter just graduated Harvard University, magna cum laude. In between, she went to Oxford and was at the top of her class. I think they call it first class, I believe. She was in the top 3% of all the students at Oxford. And now she got accepted for her master's degree for free at the best university in Germany. And so she starts in October, something new you didn't know. She starts in October in Germany for her master's degree. Brilliant girl, and I credit it to homeschooling. You just said it so casually, it's so true, but nobody knows it. Why? Because the media and the government don't want people to know it, Fabrizio. They don't want people to be smart. And you go, why, Wayne? How could you ever imagine that government wants people to be dumb? Well, they do. They want us to be dumbed down like sheeple, as we say in America, sheep or sheeple. They want us to listen to their every command. They want us to be dependent on them. They don't want us to raise smart kids who ask important questions. They don't want us to raise individuals who don't want welfare. Because if you don't take a welfare check, you might not vote for them who hand out the welfare checks. I want to raise kids who are self-sufficient, self-reliant. They believe in personal responsibility. They are rugged individualists. That's what made America America. And that's what will keep America great. And the rest of the world could learn from that and be more like us. But instead, Barack Obama is pulling America down, low expectations, relentlessly low expectations, and trying to create a nation of dependency and sheep who listen to the government and look to the government to save them for everything that's wrong in their lives. And that's why I think homeschooling works so well. And that's why the people in charge of education and government and the media in America spend all day long relentlessly trying to convince us that homeschooling is for weirdos and strange people and flakes and odd people, and it doesn't work, and you must send your kids to public schools, because I think public schools are like brainwashing factories to teach your children, always obey government, always obey government, always obey government. You know what my motto is? Screw government. Government doesn't know anything. The people in government aren't smart enough to get a job in the private sector. They were not able to be employed, so they agreed to take a government job so you can never be fired. Government doesn't grade you based on performance or talent. Once you have a government job, no matter how incompetent you are, you get to keep it for life, and then they give you a pension. In the world where I live and where you live, Fabrizio, it's all about talent and performance. And if you fail, you could be fired at any minute, and there is no pension. We're a high wire act, but of course we make the most money in the world. Entrepreneurs, without risk, you don't get rich. It takes risk to create reward. So if you want to be rich in life, you've got to be like me and Fabrizio and read The Power of Relentless. If you don't want to be rich in life and you're scared and you're insecure and you can't get a job, then go take a government job, and you'll always make a small amount of money, but you'll never be fired, and you know you got a pension, you'll never starve. That's the trade-off in life. Do you want the safety net or do you not? I don't want the safety net.
Yeah, that's it's very wise advice there. So going back onto the subject, another subject that you talk about in your book, which I find something that not a lot of people are talking about, is that of gratitude. You see, especially young people today, and not only young people, a lot of people are not grateful for what they have, and they keep complaining all the time. Tell us a bit about gratitude and how gratitude has played a very important role in your life.
Well, I think it's a two-parter. Gratitude goes hand in hand with prayer and faith, and then it goes hand in hand with something that has nothing to do with faith. It has to do with God helps those who help themselves. Yeah. I like to say in my book, I spend my life pitching, not bitching. Yeah. Most people bitch their whole life, and they protest. Everything's bad. Everything's wrong. Everyone's against me. Woe is me. The world is racist because of the color of my skin. No, it's up to you. If the world was racist, then how is Barack Obama president? Yeah. If the world is racist, how has Dr. Ben Carson become the greatest brain surgeon in the world, even though he's African American? How's he now a major contender for the presidential nomination of the Republican Party? If the world is racist, how are black people and people of color in every great position in America, whether it's comedians, whether it's actors, whether it's rock stars, whether it's Oprah Winfrey as the TV host and the talk show queen? There's nothing holding you back except you. It's all in your brain. So stop bitching and start pitching. You know, I pitch all day long, but especially in the morning with my triad and my morning pipeline. I'm pitching new ideas to 1,000 people, and if 999 say no to me, you know what that does? Makes me a millionaire. All you need is one. And so I'm a king of pitch, not bitch. But I do have gratitude. I do pray to God. I do thank him for all the wonderful blessings in my life, even while things are not going the way I want them to go. Even at moments like that, I'm trying to find the things that I love in life that I'm blessed with and thanking God for them, because that creates a positive mindset and a positive attitude. You've just got to focus on the things that are good, not on the things that are bad.
Yeah, I always say to my kids at night before we say our prayers and that, I say, look, guys, always think of 3 nice things that happened to you today. And when you say your prayers, say thank you to God for these 3 things that happened to you today. Because there's always 3 good things that can happen to you every day, no matter what happens. And focus on,
that's a great idea. And I'm going to add that to my kids' regimen at night. So you just gave me something. Yeah. And then what I've always done with my kids is, I've never done that. I've never said, let's think of 3 great things today. Fantastic. Good idea. Yeah. What I always do is I always say, let's focus on what's going to happen and what your goals are. And with my daughter Dakota, who graduated Harvard, we would sit on our knees in front of the bed and say, thank you, God, for what wonderful lives we have, and that Dakota will one day be going to Harvard or Stanford, and she'll make mommy and daddy proud. Well, we did that for 18 years, and she was accepted by both Harvard and Stanford. Does anyone think that's luck? It's not possible. There's no way you could be lucky. The year that Dakota was accepted into Harvard and Stanford, by the way, 12 for 12 with all the great colleges in America, but Harvard and Stanford in particular, the 2 best. That year was the hardest year to get into both Harvard and Stanford in history. Both of those schools had 35 to 40,000 applicants that year, and they accept about 1,000. And all 35 to 40,000 are number one in their class. And my daughter got into both. The odds are almost impossible. Yeah. Nobody does that, let alone a homeschooler. So could that have been luck? Or was it 18 years of being on your knees, visualizing the success you're going to have in the future? Now, I would add in yours, good idea, Fabrizio. After you visualize the success of the future, let's deal with what happened today that was good in your life. Great idea.
Yeah, but you see, Jesus used to do that. Every time Jesus used to pray, and before, for example, two of the big miracles are one of the 5,000 loaves, and even when Lazarus was risen from the dead, he always used to thank God, his Father, Heavenly Father, before things actually happened. Exactly what you were doing with your daughter. You would thank Heavenly Father for the fact that your daughter will be accepted in Harvard or Stanford one day, and then it exactly happened. So that gratitude before things even happen, I think it gives you that. I remember reading the biography of Greg Norman. You know, the great golfer, the Australian golfer.
Yes, yeah. Of course.
And he was talking about his putting technique, and he was saying that before he putts, he would close his eyes, visualize the ball going into the hole, but also have this gratitude towards God and towards the fact that he was there, he was on the green, he was lined up for this birdie or eagle, and then he would take a deep breath, feel positive, close his eyes, visualize the shot, the ball going in, how he was going to feel once the ball went straight into the hole, and then off, and he would execute the shot. And it worked every time. And again, he was expressing that gratitude, which put his body into that positive vibration, which then gave him that calmness, that peacefulness to be able to strike the shot and win.
Now, let me add to that comment, because Greg Norman's a great example. I'm not a golfer myself, although you visited my house. I live on a beautiful signature fifth hole of the golf course, and I watch the other golfers, but I'm not big on golfing because I'm an action guy, and I feel like, you know, you give up 5 hours of your life and nothing's happening. So you're not improving your life. So I'm not big on golf. I can't sit still for 5 hours. Okay. But having said that, I like to watch great people in every field. And Greg Norman's one of my heroes. Yeah. I'd like to bring up Greg Norman and Jim Harbaugh, one of the great coaches in American football. Okay. Greg Norman, it's another great example that if you look to the best and you expect the best and you visualize the best, and God helps those who help themselves. You take action. You take motion. You activate it all. You have faith. The best thing doesn't always happen, but like I said, if you aim for the stars, you might land on the moon. That's okay too. Yeah. You must realize Greg Norman, even though he goes down in history as one of the greatest golfers ever, he also goes down in history as one of the great second place finishers ever. Yeah. I believe he finished second more times than any golfer in the history of golf in major tournaments.
Yeah, but that adds up to a lot of money though.
Listen, a lifetime of finishing second makes you worth $500 million. Yeah. It's okay to finish second in a golf tournament when you're up against the 100 best golfers in the world and you're always second. That makes you incredible. In America, Phil Mickelson is a lot like that. Yeah. He's always finishing second, and Tiger Woods always seemed to best him, but Phil Mickelson's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and gets millions in sponsorship deals, and people love him. Yeah. So you don't have to always finish first. Second's pretty good too. Yeah. But if you aimed for second, you'd finish third or fourth or fifth. You have to aim for first. So in America, there's a football coach. His name is Jim Harbaugh, and he's one of the best in the NFL. And he was fired last year after, I believe, 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. 3 of them were incredibly fantastic seasons in a row. And then the 4th one is probably the 5th one. I think he started out with a good year. Then he had 3 incredible years in a row and made the Super Bowl. And then his 5th year, his team fell off and finished 8-8. And the players revolted. They didn't like how disciplined he is. And it created a war, and they fired him. And you go, see, Wayne, positive thinking doesn't work. He got fired. Yeah, he did get fired after 5 great years, by the way, as a coach. But then he was rehired in the college ranks by Michigan, who gave him a 7-year, $48 million contract.
That's not bad.
He's making $7 million a year. I'd like to fail like that. Yeah. So failure is okay if you're at the top. So that's why you've got to always aim for the top.
Yeah, great. Wayne, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. Can you just let people know where they can get a copy of your book and find out more about you, and maybe if they want to book you as a speaker, where they need to go? Just a little reminder here for our listeners.
Yes, sir. Be relentless. See, you're good. I like it, Fabrizio. You've really become my number one student here. So the book is called The Power of Relentless. You can find it at Amazon.com or any fine bookstore, wherever you are in the world. Just ask them if it's not there and they'll get it in for you. But Amazon always seems to be the most relentless company in the world at getting books out quickly and cheaply. So I'd go to Amazon.com. You can go to my website, Root for America, and get all my free commentaries about American politics. And if you want to book me for a business speech, you can go to my speaking site, which is called, no surprise, relentlessroot.com. Relentlessroot.com, and you can see all my speeches at major events there. You can watch all of them and decide if you want me to come and speak at your event. Relentlessroot.com, the book, The Power of Relentless.
Wayne, it's been a pleasure, and let's speak again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Fabrizio.
Thanks for being on the show.